Hey guys, today I am showing off something here. I have here in my hand my Les Paul 1960 reissue. I bought this back in the spring of 2000. So it's been with me for about 17 years now and it has not let me down. It's a very beautiful guitar. It's really nice. It plays well. The pickups are awesome. And what I've been doing lately was I've been getting into like the music. As some of you know, I'm a big Genesis fan, right? Going back from the '80s with Invisible Touch and all that. But what a lot of people don't know is that I'm into more of the now. I'm more into the older Genesis stuff, like from the '70s, like when Peter Gabriel was the lead singer. And for those of you who didn't know that, yes, Peter Gabriel was the lead singer. And Steve Hackett was the guitarist. And Mike Rutherford was still there, but he did both bass and guitar, but he was more of the bass player of the band, and Steve Hackett did more of the guitar parts at that time. And what's amazing about that is that he was an amazing guitarist. As a matter of fact, he's still out there touring. He spent the last couple of years doing a tour of the old Genesis stuff from the '70s called Genesis Revisited. Really awesome. So what I have down here, and I'm gonna show you this in a minute, is my effects board and what I was able to do with this to kind of replicate as best as I possibly can the Steve Hackett sound for the most famous and probably, well, there were other solos, but honestly this is the only recognized solo in the Genesis universe. A song that came out in 1973 called Firth of Fifth. He plays it in all of his gigs because he knows everybody loves that solo. I love it. I loved it the first time I ever heard it. But it's from 1973, and I'm going to show you what I did with my effects unit for you guitarists out there, enthusiasts and effect enthusiasts out there, how you can kind of replicate that Steve Hackett sound using this. Okay, so what we have here is my trusty Pod HD 500X by Line 6. Now, this is an old unit considerably. Now there's better ones, Fractal, the Axe 8, what else? The Helix by Line 6 as well. But, for those of you working on a budget, like moi, this will do. And this actually does the job. I mean, if I was actually in a working band, I'd probably upgrade to either Helix, Line, or amplifier pedal. Those are pretty good now. Those are the most economic ones, but they have the same kind of power, DSP power and all that kind of stuff. But in any case, here it is, the Pod HD. Now what I've done was I created a patch right here called I call it Hackett, and it has effects of different sorts. I have here I have a delay. I have a little bit of, let's see what else. I got my volume pedal. First of all, you got to have this. The volume pedal has to be activated. Has to be activated because he does a lot of swells. So you do this with the foot a lot. You'd be like wah wah wah. Not wah, but you know what I mean. The volume swell that goes like that. Anyway, all right, got it. Good. Now over here, I have the different effects. I have a red comp. In front of the amp that I have simulated, there's amps, not just effects here that you can simulate, which means that I don't need an amplifier. I actually plug into this Behringer wedge here, and that does the job. And the rest of it can go in front in-house if ever I play in live again. So here's a distortion. I got a screamer here, an overdrive screamer. I have an effects loop here. Now, what's interesting about this is that I can set the parameters and I can add extra pedals, and that's what I have right up here. I have the MXR Super Badass Distortion, and that helps to a certain degree. I have the settings like so, for those of you who want to take a good look at that, and I have the settings like so down here, if I could find it. Oh, there it is. Right? So that's right there. And it's pretty cool. We got the whole... What it does is that it goes into this. into the effects return and send, which means that the thing is on the whole time, but it is only on if I have the effects loop set. So, which would be not that one. It's this one. This is my button. So if it's off, and this sound doesn't go through from this pedal. But if I want to activate this pedal, make it come out, I just hit that and it's ready to go. So you can hear that. Now, that's what I have here. Now, the amp I'm simulating, I have a noise gate in front of that too. You know, a noise suppressor, so to speak, to get rid of the hum that sometimes you hear in an amp that takes everybody off. Over here I'm using a Plexi Lead 100 Brit. That is the closest thing to the kind of amps that Steve Hackett uses right now in his tours. He uses a Marshall 100. So there you go. That's what I've been using, a Plexi Lead 100 Brit. Now, from there, if you see here, I have two other pedals here. First of all, I love this compressor. I've had it for, God, almost 20 years now, and it's like done me nothing but good. I barely use it now, but I like keeping it there. Call it loyalty. I don't know. But this is kind of cool. This is called a feedbacker booster. Now, what's cool about this is that you can actually hold a note for a long period of time. There's something called a Fernandez sustain. Some artists use it. Steve Hackett definitely uses it. He uses it to hold notes for a very long time and for other things too. In the Firth or Fifth solo, there's a point where he holds a note and it just takes a while. And it never goes away. It doesn't decay, it doesn't fade, nothing. It just stays where it is. Well, you have to like really get your guitar all like decked out and with the special kind of pickup called a Fernandez pickup in order to have that work. However, if you don't want to do that and go through the trouble, this pedal actually helps. Not only does it hold your note for a sustained period of time, it also works as a boost pedal, so for your solos. So I kind of use it for both, and that's pretty cool. I put both of these right in front of the effects chain, so it just goes right into my guitar in, and then everything else comes through here. My delays, my, the amp modeling, and the badass distortion is in the effects chain as an effects loop, again activated by just pressing this or turning it off. So that's kind of how I have it. Will this change in time? Yeah, once I advance in my gear, once I have the moolah for it. But in the meantime, this does pretty good. So without any further ado, I'm gonna try to play most of the song for you, not just the solo, but I'm gonna play a rendition of it from the live album Seconds Out that came out in 1977. The solo there it's not very dominant in that track. It's still kind of like low, but here, so when you hear it loud and clear here, it's mostly me. Steve will be there too, but kind of like in the back. So here we go.